Thank you, Michelle. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Najat, and welcome to everyone. Thanks to Neil MacInnes, the Head of Libraries, Galleries and Culture for Manchester City Council, for hosting this event. Neil has led Manchester's Libraries, Information and Archives Services since 2010. He joined Manchester City Council as Head of Service Improvement in 2005 after working in Glasgow Libraries for 20 years, and he led the Library Transformation Programme in Manchester. This included a £50 million refurbishment of Manchester Central Library, which was the busiest public library in the UK in 2019 to 20. So I'll now hand over to Neil. Welcome.
Hi there, good evening, and I'm delighted to welcome you on behalf of Manchester Libraries. Unfortunately, our doors are not open at this moment in time, and we cannot be in the performance space in Manchester Central Library, but I thought I'd bring a little bit of the library to you tonight with the beautiful reading room as my backdrop. But I'm delighted that we have been able to host this event. My entire career has been working in libraries, as Michelle said, over 35 years. But my interest in libraries and books has been since I was a small child, when I was taken to my local library in Glasgow. I think I'm fortunate to have the dream library job in a city that is truly a library city, boasting some of the best libraries in the land. Manchester Central Library, the fabulous Chetham's Library, John Rylands Library, part of the University of Manchester, the Portico Library, and soon we'll be opening a new poetry library in the city. But as well as having some amazing flagship and heritage libraries, we have a fabulous network of public libraries in Manchester, which we're developing as cultural and creative spaces. And across Greater Manchester, we have over 130 public libraries with access to 2.8 million books to borrow. One of the highlights of my career has been leading the transformation of Manchester Central Library and ensuring that it's the heart of all festivals in the city. We have, over the past 11 months, focused our activities where we couldn't be fully open on online events such as this, but I really long for the day when we can open our doors again and welcome people to events in the library once more. As a library isn't a library without people and communities coming together to celebrate and enjoy culture, reading, literature, and that sense of community. We've been really proud in Manchester to be partners of MACFEST since the festival first began in 2018. And since then, we've worked on 2 festivals with the MACFEST committee, hosting a range of successful events at Manchester Central Library and our community libraries. Poetry and spoken word has been the main focus of events at the previous 2 festivals, with performances from local poets of Pakistani, Bengali, Iranian, and Somali backgrounds. And later this month, we'll be celebrating multilingual poetry with performances from local, national, and international Muslim poets of Arabic, Bengali, Kashmiri, Pakistani, and East Turkestan heritage. But tonight, we are excited to virtually host the latest poetry bonanza and performance at this MACFEST event. So delighted to be here. Thank you, and I'll hand you back to Michelle.
Thank you, Neil. As Najat mentioned, I'm the Festival Director of the Huddersfield Literature Festival. So just to very quickly mention that we're launching our own online events from the 18th to the 28th of March. And these include the crime writer A.A. Dand interviewing Guardian journalist Saima Mir about her debut novel, The Khan. Plus later in the year, we're planning to reschedule our partnership event with MACFEST, Rumi, The Alchemy of Love, which will be a live event as soon as we can bring you indoor events and outdoor events with people actually there in person. We will do in the safest possible way. As Neil says, we're all really keen to get back to that. We've missed live performances, but it's wonderful we can all link up in this way for now. So I'd like you to sit back and imagine that we're all gathered together in Manchester's wonderful Central Library performance space. So tonight we have 3 gifted contributors. Each will perform for approximately 15 minutes, followed by your opportunity to ask questions at the end through the chat box. So our first performer is Shamsahd Khan, who is a poet and resilience coach. She works with individuals and organisations using creative writing and coaching skills to empower and inspire. She's co-edited 2 anthologies of poetry. She's written and presented for BBC Radio and published a poetry collection, Megalomaniac, with themes from human rights and identity to love and power. She also pioneered and ran Hard Rain Poetry, which was a monthly local community creative writing and performance forum. And she's collaborated with directors, musicians, deaf signers, and even beatboxers, as well as running workshops for universities, survivors of domestic violence, and community groups. In 2018, her multimedia show, The Moonwatcher, toured across the Northwest. Please welcome Shamsahd.
गिरा क्या आसमान से कबूतर का पर या दिल मेरा लिखा हुआ था तेरा नाम उस पे मेरा तो मिट गया गिरने से पहले गिरा कैसे मेरा दिल जब लिखा हुआ था तेरा नाम उस पे जब दिए गया प्यार के पर उससे नूर से भरे हुए तू चलते हो इस दुनिया की जमीन पे या कभी नहीं गिरता ये कबूतर का पर. That was a love poem for all of the lovers, all the crazy people out there who are insisting on loving, however tough it might be sometimes. The next piece is for migrant workers and their families, and particularly this one was inspired, and I wanted to give thanks to Preetha Jha, who works for an organisation called the Peace and Equality Cell in Gujarat, India. And this piece was commissioned by Worldwide FM, so a DJ called Mr. Scruff, who's collecting Manchester poets and asking them to contribute pieces on that theme. So you'll be able to look out for that and many other Manchester poets performing. Patent pending. Eyes bright as ink, urgent lips behind cotton flower print. On your call for assistance, a rope of plaited light appears in Anand, a temporary solution to a worldwide crisis. Hand to hand, a team of NGO staff, Bhavna Ben, Sharifa, Ranjan, Shabana, and their husbands, redistribute global wealth from the back of a truck, a bag of rice, essentials for India's made workless migrant workers. The journey home 3 months too soon. Door to door, the provisions are given. Men, women, and village children deposit an overspill of thanks and blessings. Gratitude, spreading faster than a virus, tips the balance. And it's the giver who is indebted. The politics of our overseas aid unmasked. Figuring out how much we owe is a pointless and endlessly recurring task. Oh, that we had a vaccine against poverty. But our hunger for consumables has us panning the internet for a grain of gold. The truth is, we are as wide apart as close is. In a luxurious gated society in Gujarat or in relative poverty in red brick Manchester, what we do affects each other. In inner city Hume, Letitia opens her front door to another Amazon parcel delivery. Lycra leggings. Lakshmi in Ahmedabad is holding a bag of lentils. Equally excited, they poke their fingers through plastic packaging, stretching black printed words into oblivion. Scattered across continents, they peer at each other through a heart-shaped hole. smiling in a future miracle where there is no patent pending and charity has been made obsolete. So I'm going to just wriggle around because I'm just imagining people at home. It's so different here to doing this live with people. So I'm going to just imagine you all. So we're billed as poetry, but I've been writing different kinds of words, and this is something which is part of an anthology called The Wild Isles, which is going to be coming out March this year. It's nature writing by British and Irish people about landscapes and wildlife. And the publishers, Head of Zeus, and the editor, Patrick Barkham, were keen to try to balance the representation in that anthology. So I, along with a few other people, were commissioned to write a piece. So it's telling a little bit about our family time in the Yorkshire moors. We can't wait to get out of the car. The cattle grid is a threshold, a forced slowing down of our white Cortina saloon. We are out of the city, waves of stone walls climbing and falling into the horizon, shouldering seas of greens and tinted mauves. This is more than a day trip to Scarborough. This is the Wild West of the North Yorkshire moors. The car is economically packed tight with 5 kids, reside quilts, pans, cooked food and provisions to feed the family army. My dad was in the World War II, so we learnt a few tricks from him. The acrid smell of peat bogs loosens our breath as we climb the hill. Me and my younger brother, born and bred Yorkshire, feel excitedly free. Who doesn't feel going into nature is a kind of homecoming? I'm just going to skip here, but there's a little bit of a description about me and my brother balancing on heather and it just wobbling and then diving into the bracken. Countryside feels like the closest thing to arriving nowhere. It's going to be easy to lose ourselves here, and where a heart is lost, there is no getting it back. Brown spores furled in on the naked backs of fractals, our twinned spirits caught like wool fluff or long strands of hair on brambles. These were our broad Yorkshire moors, convinced of our 7- and 8-year-old quintessential Englishness, not understanding until we visited Punjab for ourselves that what we had seen on our parents' faces was not just holiday ease, it was familiarity, a recognition as between old friends being welcomed home. Landmarkings like creases on the face of a childhood sweetheart, grain and cattle fodder heaped in bundles in the entrance of their village homes. The moors were more like home to our parents than they could ever be to us city-born kids. We stamped our shoes and left them in the muddy porch. We never tried to retrieve what we lost, neither in Skugdale nor Godsarang. Both places were blood roots, coursing an iron belonging into us forever. The Bronze Age landscape shaping our emotions, the dales and Caith farmlands holding our voices, our feelings giving coordinates to the crags, fields and heath walks that framed us, boring a tube into the depths of ourselves, overlaid experiences revealed like in soil pollen analysis, generations of depletion and enrichment. We foray into the village once, but mostly walk the miles of isolated hills around our Yorkshire homestead. our big sisters setting the pace. Us, too, fascinated by shining clusters of rolled tarmac balls that turn out to be fresh sheep droppings. The onyx striped eye of a sheep as cool as playground marbles. We fall behind but catch the others up easily. We think it might have picked up our mother's weightless steps, the decibeled walk of our father, definitely the rapid doubler drumming of the rest of us. Its lithe intelligence, remembering every reverberation of our footfall in its endless body. Thick, coiled markings curled close under a dry stone wall. Surprise is enlivening. We startle as much as it startles us. Trilingual snake that took all words away. The snake does not move. We do not move. The gaps between the stones widen. Citadel of spore turrets, shaggy green chenille on the rocks. When a snake doesn't know what to make of you, when a snake is surprised to see you, when a snake glides away without saying a word longer than an unwound copper sari. Adder or grass snake, poisonous or not poisonous, cross-hatched markings, cool or warm, we do not touch it. We accept our dad knows how to unspeak snake. A friendly salute, and that's it. Breathing deepened breaths that ease unbelonging away. For 20 years, our dad has been giving himself back to a hillside in Leeds. We are locked down and unlocking. We ache for green space more than ever, bubbling and unbubbling care, plaiting and unplaiting black diamonds into my mother's silvering hair. I'm writing to you from inner city Manchester, breaking out every day that I can for something untamed. And then I just wanted to finish with two poems which were in part of a collaboration by Cartwheel Arts and with the visual artist and puppet maker Vicky Lomax. Upcycled Me. My language is the rustle of a crisp packet, clank of a can being kicked against the curb, clattering, scrunch, crunch of broken glass under shoes, staccato tumble of plastics into the wheelie bin. The difference between French and English and Urdu and Flemish. The puppet maker has her eye on all kinds of things. Fallen by the curb, a can. Hidden in the hedge, a bottle. Stuffed in a bush, a packet. Lying on the path, a wrapper. Bloated, floating in the air, a carrier. Discarded on the beach, a brush. Salvage me, crying out from every sucked out carton left on a bench. The creator believes everything has a right to a new life. Circular arrow eating itself like a snake, she remakes things to help save her planet. The story of my creation starts life as a shampoo bottle, a synthesis of plastic sins begging for mortality. She does not judge me for what I'm made of, does not indict me for what damage I have done, for what unknown damage I may do. Recycling broken bits of myself, she reincarnates me into my better self, gets rid of my not yet recyclable lid, unlabels me. I'm feeling better already. I never wanted to choke a seabird, weigh down its belly, or block the filter feed of a crustacean. Micro levels of corruption, jamming up some poor, unsuspecting organism. The future of me is all up for grabs. The big green bin. Hell, I could have ended up with half the plastic world on top of me, maybe shipped out to landfill overseas. The puppet maker is cutting before she's had time to think. I'm imagining functioning hands, articulated limbs made from serrated bottle tops, handwritten poems scrunched up tight, a poet's discarded words, uncrumpled inspiration filling the cavity of my mind. I dream a dream I'm absent from. Oh, heart, she's holding up a carton, another empty tub, a diaphanous carrier bag. The puppet creator is deliberating about the size of my ears. Though she has grown to love me, pretty, polluting plastic polymer that I am, I hear she wants me extinct. And just before I read the last poem, the images that and the video that bring the poetry and the puppets together can be seen on the Cartwheel Arts website under Collaborate. So I'd like to finish with this last piece, which was inspired by that collaboration and could be the way forward for the world. Organic me. Make me from the twigs of a familial tree. Stretch over my clay bones, unbleached organic matter. Anything born of plant or discarded by animal. I want to tassel talk like a grass stalk, speak tree like 7 seas of beach, lingual long in poplar sky, brush whooshes, make me from a cone, a berry, bristle, thistle, any weird shaped thing that has breathed, born with a warp, a bend, a twist, a blemish. Stick me together with natural gunk, strong enough that the wind won't blast me apart too soon, but bind me so I unwind in good time. I want to fall back into the soil quickly, freckles of 1,000 seeds, all smiles on the face of the forest floor, sisal vest, wicker knickers, crick, click like a hazelnut returning its treasures. Make me kind of human. And that's it from me. So looking forward to hearing the other 2 poets. And I wanted to thank Yusra for putting the event, and for Najat, Neil and Michelle and all of the rest of the team, because I know there's Steve and a few other people in the background. So thank you so much for inviting me and reminding me that I love performing, because I don't do it up much these days. So thank you so much, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you so much, Shamsahd. That was absolutely beautiful, really evocative. And oh my goodness, I don't know about everyone else, but I so want to get out into the North Yorkshire wilderness now. We'll have to wait a little while, but hopefully this year. So our second performer tonight is Mansoor Shah. Mansoor's career has spanned many years in different roles, including academic, NHS director, management consultant, external examiner, school governor, independent member of police misconduct panels, and charity trustee. I'm surprised he's got time to write with everything else going on. The works of Sufi writers and the English Romantics have influenced his writings of esoteric poems in simple poetic stanza. He's interested in cultural enrichment, spiritual exploration for self-improvement, and promoting mental well-being, which is something we all need right now. Calling on his extensive professional experience in mental health, He has contributed to a number of professional textbooks. Please welcome Mansur.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome everybody. I am so delighted to be here. I'm not particularly one for performance poetry, but I'm more of a writer than somebody who's going to, so bear with me. And for this particular occasion, I've chosen fairly short poems, and I've also chosen poems which have not been published yet, although I may pick one or two from my previous books. Before I start, because it is a Muslim festival, so I thought I'd give precedence to, in a sense, a lot of my poetry is inspired from reading the Quran. And I read the Quran early in the morning, and I get my inspiration and ideas from there. So the first poem I'm reading to you is called The Ladder. Poetry to heed is in the Holy Quran, stanza in Arabic, not known to man. Sent down by ladder from high above, through journey of rungs marked with love. Words, letters resonate the inner soul, revealing truth you will come to know. A lot of my poems are around devotion and love. These are also, when it comes from romantics and particularly Sufi writers, and very simple couplet I'd like to share with you, just a 2-line, so hopefully you may be able to remember that. It's called Devotion. Understand love is to understand devotion, the bottomless pit and the endless ocean. I open my eyes, you are there. I close my eyes, you are aware. This is such an awe and no mythical mystery. From you, there is no hiding or fantasy. But connecting with you is not with ease. Your gates only open with the right keys. What a journey I am summoned as such to please. During this pandemic, one thing that really brought home to me is how connected we are and how dependent we are on each other, whether we're going to the supermarket, somebody selling the goods and the person at the checkout, or a person collecting our bins, how important it is that although we're not out, but we really appreciate everybody else that's out there working for us or helping us to survive. So the word connection, in a way, and I've written it in a poem called Blade of Grass. See the beautiful blade of grass, how it connects with the universe. The sun gives it the measured light to release the breathing air at night. The sky sends down the nourishing rain, making it grow and feeding the life chain. It's a sign of creation to love and cherish. What a favor to have without we perish. A favor, a sign we cannot deny. Praise our Creator, Almighty High. So that's the sort of sense of poetry I tend to write, is to enhance our own inner self, really. And my next poem is called The Gracious Light. Again, it's about this journey. How gracious is the light at the start. It shines from the head to the heart. How blessed am I that begins the day with permission for submission's prey, feeding my soul with this enlightenment, seeing the benefit of spiritual enchantment. Praise to the master of the mystical throne, who is the creator of everything know. Gates open and close several celestial times a day. Members with guidance make their way. They have the authority and the keys. They visit whenever with ease. The keys have been sent from high above. They are blessed with enlightenment of peace and love. Just want to continue. Just imagine you're on a path and you're on this spiritual journey. And I call this one the milestone. Now old with a hoary head, puzzled thoughts with words said. A year seems a length of day, friends knocked to come out and play. With many scars and medals braved, with memories not forgotten, saved. A birthday of a marked milestone, measuring the distance done alone. A life's journey of continuous learn, where it started, where will return. This is getting not so much of a journey, but it's trying to understand some of the social, economic, I'm trying to be kind here. I'll read it to you and then perhaps you can ask me some questions later. It's called The Building of Arrogance. A huge building built with arrogant pride. It has the latest technology inside. Slavery of craftsmen with their skills abused. A place of adulation for its celebrants confused. The walls don't echo any blessings at all. This building is empty of spirit and soul. It's a bit provoking, but it may not sound that way to you. But again, on the same theme, this one's called A Wall of Stone. In front, there is a wall of stone, mirror of faces and shadows unknown. Beloved memories of ones you hold dear, their sounds and voices you no longer hear. Search deep and there you will find, in every space of your cloudy mind, there is this trace of devotion inside. This is about companionship. You have family and friends that you have known. They may be good companions, but you are still alone. You find the love of the beloved one. All your companionship is completely done. Your heart and soul in loving peace forever to roam. You are now at a place that is truly your home. This one is called When the Light is On. When the light is on, there is no moon or sun. When the light is on, all other lights are gone. When the light is on, shadows of prostration are done. When the light is on, gates open to the worshipful one. When the light is on, rewarded with gift of yearn. When the light is on, records of left and right are shone. When the light is on, woe from the angel of left to burden. When the light is on, praise from the angel of right forgiven. When the light is on, we are raised and judgment has begun. When the light is on, one by one we answer alone. When the light is on, we have left our temporary home. When the light is on, darkness and pain for some. When the light is on. Again, on a different theme, this one is called Ignorant Mock. How sad it is to see the ignorant mock that tries to provoke and want to shock. But choosing a role model above the highest ranks, it only attacks responses from like-minded cranks. Doesn't deserve the actions of donkey tail that swipes, of the annoying flea that threatens with its bites. This one's called The Embedded Rock. On top of the rock, there is a grain of sand. The rock is embedded on transgressors' land. Through the sky and the universe above, the light beams down, glistening with love. The grain of sand is in a humble prostration, its shadows in tears for the coming liberation. From the despots and the transgression and their transgression, the keys will be returned from their possession. They will discover the outcomes of their deception. Awaiting is the bottomless pit for their reception. Awakened. I am what I am. What changes of heart do I seek? You say like it is in a name. What you say is to be. My eyes are so tired from tears fled, emptying the oceans in my head. Now drained and exhausted, I'm no more dead, awakened from this elusive dream. Now the heart is fed. From this mystic dream, I now say, ah, me. I am a great believer in community, and there's one sort of very simple poem that I wrote just to express what community means to me. Bliss is the word community, meaning come together and gift earnestly. Yet we have leaders abusing this word. They encourage divisions across the world, preaching that religion and politics do not mix, no questioning of morals, values, or ethics. How much of democracy do we understand when we are complicit with despots across many lands? No transparency of lucrative contracts handed ready to friends and acquaintances lining pockets of greedy, patronizing the needy and the society's poor. These are the people we voted for. Bit provoking, but it's just a sense to bring home the beauty of community. This is probably running out of sharing everybody's time. What I'll do is I'll just leave it there and come back if you want with some more of my poetry. But thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share some of my work.
Thank you so much, Mansur. I'm sorry we could probably listen all night to any of the individual poets. So just trying to keep a little bit of space for time at the end for any questions. So I'm going to move on now to our third and final performer, who is Yusra Warsama. Yusra uses a range of art forms to tell stories, whether as a director, an actor, a performer, a writer, or a poet. Another multi-talented person here on our panel. She began her career in the arts at the Contact Theatre Manchester while studying criminology and sociology. From there, she began working with both national and international theatre companies and artists, learning that art and communicating narrative had the power to translate human experience through a multitude of lenses. Her collaborative work includes Don Lett's Speaker's Corner, a spoken word theatre piece that commemorated the abolition of slavery. She's currently acting on several projects and also working on her adaptation of one of Federico Garcia Lorca's final plays, which she initially staged in 2017. Please join me in welcoming her.
Thank you, Michelle. Assalamu alaikum. Well done, Najat, for the introduction as well. think that was really brave of you, actually. So thank you, because these things are nerve-wracking, even though we have the medium of this blocking us. Shamsahd and Mansur, you're really gentle people. You're really beautiful, gentle people. I feel like I might just shout at everyone for 10 minutes in comparison. But before I start, I want to share these bracelets that I got from South Africa. I don't know if you can read them, but it says bold, beautiful, and brilliant. So I want everyone who's listening to know that of yourself. And this one is, she believed, so she could, and she did. So alhamdulillah, I just want to share those things with you. And I just want to remember, before I read, to also take a deep breath. But in these times, just breathe, live in your body. As Shamsahd's poetry also reminds us, like, nature is like the most beautiful thing, and be kind to yourselves. And there's like an Islamic thing that I've always heard like people say, which is also resonates like a very northern kind of saying. It's a bit funny, but it's kind of like, if you've got if one of your limbs are missing, if you lose one arm, you've got another one. If you lose both arms, you've got both legs. If you lose both legs, you still have your body. So it's just to be grateful for the smallest things can give you such a beautiful thing and a rope to hold on to. So yeah, I'm Yusra from Manchester. Oh, and the other thing actually, what I was thinking, Mansur, when you mentioned the provocative thing about the buildings, is when you walk around Manchester, so they're knocking down beautiful buildings and it's really painful. And you're just like, what's going on? And what they're building can only be described half the time as these cancerous sores that erupt on our city. So yeah, what is a building with no soul? Yeah. So I was only going to read one poem, but I'm going to read another one which is inspired by Shamsahd, which was a similar project, same project with Andy, Mr. Scruff. So I'll just start. Bismillah. The world, as wide as it is, are we the same? Like 70% of us is water, and that's the same amount of sea and ocean that surrounds landmass. If this is so, do sound waves affect us the same way that water crystals and snowflakes form the most stunning visions as they move from liquid to solid, when spoken the most beautiful words to? Then just sing to me. If this is so, surely we should then hold each other tenderly, no? Hold each other in deeper thought and integrity in case someone is melting from the inside. It would take a 1, 2 sweet word to form them back to their beautiful. That's what some of all this is. Life. That's what it must mean. Let's just sing together. Let's sing to one another. If this were so, it must mean life is the way the moon tugs and flows tides, the same way it tugs and flows the tides of women all over the world, till one day the moon leaves each woman to dictate the tides of a new phase in their womanhood. These women would sing together. They would howl and they would make the hair on our arms stand up, and they would laugh at us as we make our mistakes. They would hold us in their wisdom, and they would. I wonder how much body of water fills the canals in and around this city. Maybe we should all go to the water, sing to its depths, a Manchester tune, a memory of something from a generation, or rhymes and riddles of elders that came searching from overseas, or maybe a ditty of the indigenous folk of this place. Either way, we should sing a melody so sweet that the water would vibrate more beats than the hacienda, a song of this place, of this city, of this, my home, where the whole world lives, where adventure is acquired not overseas, but it is given in an insight by a neighbour. Stories of distant lands living in the body of your classmates, workmates. The world lives in this place where water cleanses, daily ablutions performed. The Irwell and the Mersey are like the picture of the back of my veins and my hands. For I can walk this city at night, eyes closed. The water in my blood always circumnavigates me home. If the ocean sees me, it knows I know where home is. It's where the rivers flow inside, you see. If that is so, then we must always be at home. Come to the water and sing to me. Come to the water and pray with me. Even if you were not to do so, it's all good. The tides that form inside are telling you where you need to go. Okay, so the second bit of poetry I want to read for you this evening is one that I wrote for this event. And I'm obsessed with what makes us. I'm really interested in the contradictions that we have as people. Also what makes us so similar and familiar, but yet so alien, and how the micro and the macro are just one and the same, and how we just fluctuate between the two. And it's a privilege and a wonderful thing to have those thoughts. And sometimes they can be really heavy things. But that's just the dance of life, I suppose. Qadri Allah, as we say. So, Bismillah. Know thyself. Where does time go? We wake in fields that were once ripe with harvest. Only now it forgets the seasons. Ripples of fruitless emerald, like some dead Instagram photo. There's not much more than physical sight. This bed, this field, resigned to invisible complacency. There are folds within me. Contradictions and hypocrisies lay claim to crevices on my body. Ayatul Kursi for protection, Surah Al-Baqarah to make demons run from our home. So many cultures lie within this body, weaving silent, unseen backdrops, each booming with deafening demands. Small colonies of doubt, enclaves of thought, sending smoke signals to one another in communication each time I light a cigarette. Time must circumnavigate us, laughing at our predictability. Who does time bus joke with? Maybe the dervish's wind. There are wells, dips and valleys on this flesh that made my mother wonder at the power of something greater. Faith held unmovable, but soft, bruised from criticism. Ignorance can live in a cynical raised lip of some people. I find myself holding myself, the parts of me left at the end of uncompleted sentences from conversations held on the periphery of things. Where does time go? Open-hearted and open-minded is like a superpower, allowing us to swing pendulum-like between ideas. Sometimes we don't see who gave birth to our own minds. Ex-prime ministers re-educating youth in faraway villages. I fear for them. Maybe you should too. For sometimes all those people in those villages have are their prayer beads and their kind faith. Maybe time goes to where rich men ponder and reason on how to change legacy and break the sense of self that belongs to humble men. I swing between things, so I hold on to a rope. We are all just trying at times to keep our heads above water. So who are we really? The only time I want to descend into the deep depths is when I choose to swim down in search for those pearls, those sweet, precious pearls. Time gets twisted on the tongues, salivating with false proclamations of brother and sister. Ghosts of ancestors and ghosts of colonizers fight in between my sinews and occasionally acknowledge each other whilst they squeeze into ligaments holding a truce. Slipping slow motion whispers up and down my spine to my brain. What is this diaspora? Synapses forced to find answers, forming new pathways. I haven't got a headache. It's just each step feels new, undone, too much debris to be pressed down before a way forward is smooth. That's where a lot of the time goes, balancing the contradiction of shape-shifting echoes. Some days the ideas of faith and culture form billowing blooms of beautiful thought. Other days, bloody bastard beasts dry the air as if there is no hope. But there is that rope. The pads of my hands are calloused. Where does time go? If I knew, or if we knew, we maybe would try and turn time back. But is that not the work of the devil? I take it back to when overarched nomadic feet were accommodating brittle, dark grey concrete for the first time, to when lopsided headscarves would dance in the undulation of the bumpy slide that was in the big park at the end of the street, to when chants of go back home had no resonance, to innocent contradiction of immigrant girls dancing to the Spice Girls whilst memorising the Quran for this Saturday's lesson. Maybe I wouldn't go back. Maybe I would find coherent answers in the folds of my motherhood, when it's not seen as something that has been liberated by white feminism or unicorn dreams. Ah, give me the simplicity of faith, or the purity of deen, because each molecule that surrounds us is filled with visceral curiosity that just keeps vibrating. We still traverse over ourselves to find a deeper kind of freedom. Freedom once was popping those hot tarmac bubbles on the street. Do you remember them? Not noticing the broken dreams splintering from behind the eyes of men, uncles and cousins, relations, these displaced men, wondering what they should do, wandering away from all the dull ache, wondering what they should do, wandering away from the dull ache of deferred dreams. Maybe someone should make a film about them like they did those men in Sheffield, but this is Manchester, where we also witness the sweet sweat of women building dams and holding back poverty from feeding on their children. Thwarted memories, married with time, reenacting the past, whilst I gasp and grasp at the pieces of myself. Prayer and dhikr break these spells. Time is not to be thought of so deeply, I think. And my phone rang exactly as I finished. Alhamdulillah, so I like that one. Didn't put it on thingy. Shh, be quiet. Right, I'm going to sit on it. Thank you for listening. I don't really read poetry much anymore, so it was really nice to do it. So thank you, MACFEST. Thank you guys for hosting, and really thank you, Mansoor and Shamsahd. I enjoyed listening to you guys and being reminded of things that I've not thought about.
Thank you, Yusra. That was wonderful. And actually, I quite like the phone music at the end. I think everyone should have a bit of music to finish their performances, you know, lift us up even further. It's been an absolutely wonderful evening. I hope everyone has enjoyed it from their homes as well. If anyone does have a question and they want to quickly type it in the chat box, I'll put it to our poets tonight. But if not, we can perhaps end on that note. I'll give them a couple of seconds there. I think everyone's blown away by the poetry. They're all someone said, thank you to all. Where can we get hold of the books? So does anyone want to let people know? Is there a preferred supplier for your books?
My books are on Amazon. So if you just type my name, hopefully it might come up.
I would think if you type any of the poets' names in, you should be able to find a route to their books. And there's some wonderful independent bookshops in Yorkshire and in Manchester, I'm sure we'll be able to help, and possibly in the library as well at some point. Lovely. Yes, just lots of lovely comments about how much everyone's enjoyed the evening. Fantastic evening. Thank you so much. Super lost poem, Yusra. So yes, I think we'll wind it up there. So thank you again to Neil for hosting the event, Manchester Libraries. We look forward to all getting back to our libraries when we can and our bookshops. And I hope everyone enjoyed it at home. I'm sure they did. And thank you so much to our three poets tonight. I'm going to give a little round of applause, even though I can't hear the audience, and normally we would at an event, but I'm sure everyone's enjoyed it. So, and thank you to MACFEST.